Good evening, everyone. It's Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai. We have already a lot of people joining us, but we're going to wait a little bit for people to join. A couple of big announcements I have to make is tomorrow, Saturday. What is it, John? December 17th, is it? Tomorrow?
Yes.
Saturday. We have a very, very important event. It's a symposium. It's a very timely symposium called the Government and Big Tech Censorship Symposium. It's the first international symposium we're holding. And one of the reasons that we're holding it is that we're the ones who, as many of you know, exposed in our 2020 lawsuit, the government and censorship infrastructure, which a lot of the grifters waited 2 years to get on. But we really think that we need to have a real symposium on this so we can really lay out all the issues that have to do with government and big tech censorship. So all of you are invited tomorrow to attend. John, can you post up the link to the events page? So John's going to post a link to the events page that all of you can get access to. And to buy tickets right now, tickets are going fast, so please join us. But it's going to be a 4-hour event from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we're going to get really into the nature of the government and big tech censorship infrastructure. We're going to go through the details of our lawsuit, what really must be done and what the solution is. And that's going to be tomorrow. So John's posting an important link that will take you right to the events page. If you don't have that, John, I can do it. Do you have it, John?
I got it. I got it, yeah.
Yeah, it's right to the actual event so they can click and everyone can, because a lot of people have been asking me how to do that. So that's tomorrow. So there you go. So John just posted that. Please take advantage of that. The other thing before we start is John's also going to post a quick video that he did to advertise the event. Go ahead, John. Anyway, I hope all of you can join us. Anyway, the news that I also have to share is yesterday, when was it, John? Around 5 p.m., John and I finished, and we were in the middle of editing a very, very important post that was a scathing expose of Elon Musk. As many of you know, I've been really hammering Elon Musk for why he still keeps his back-end portal up and running. And as a part of that, we actually wrote an article, which we posted on our website. Interesting enough, I found out that 12 hours after I posted that article, after 2 years, suddenly I am back on Twitter. Okay? So we just found out we're back on Twitter. And that's what's interesting. Okay, this is after we demanded that he dismantle this portal. And this just occurred this afternoon, I found out, and it's 12 hours after we and our entire movement have been exposing the hypocrisy of Elon Musk not to take down this portal. So first of all, it's a big victory for our movement because it is our movement which did this. Our movement's been hammering Elon Musk. Why doesn't he take down this portal? Now, Elon Musk is thinking by putting me back on Twitter that I'm going to stop talking about this backend portal. So to begin with, let me first talk to you about the post I just did online right here, which is talking about the article. And that's going to be the basis of our discussion today. So I just posted this article, John, as you can see. What I put up here was the following. I said, it is curious 12 hours of my publishing a scathing expose on Elon Musk's refusal to dismantle the government's backdoor portal to Twitter, which I discovered 2 years ago in our historic 2020 lawsuit, Ayyadurai versus Twitter et al. Musk has suddenly restored my Twitter account. This is all well and good, but the problem of the government censorship portal still being active remains. Musk must dismantle the government censorship portal without waiting for fake Indian Elizabeth Warren and warmonger Lindsey Graham retroactively legalize the whole thing, just as Congress did with George W. Bush and the government's wireless wiretapping of U.S. citizens using telecommunications and phone companies. The backdoor portal remains beyond the law. Musk has stated Twitter will not do anything beyond the law. Well, So I just posted this article, and I recommend everyone to do it. John, can you post the article link to everyone? So
Sure.
I'm going to walk everyone through this article because the article is a very, very deep article, but I want everyone to read the article. But most importantly, as JC Denton says right here, Musk must dismantle the Twitter partnership portal. Okay, he's got to do that. Okay, thanks, JC Denton. So John just is about to post the article, which is vashiva.com/Elon Musk, etc. And you should read the article because it goes through the essence of what Musk really is. And I'm going to walk you through the article because one of the essential things, as a writer, when you write stuff, you actually sort of, your brain works and you get deeper and deeper and deeper into understanding the problem. But today's talk that we want to talk about, as John, maybe you can just put the cover title of the talk in the title of the talk today, as John's going to put up, is why lazy people need false God lies and half truths. Why lazy people need false God lies and truths. That's what we're going to talk about. And the reason I want to talk to you about this is because if you look at the fact, it was our movement, my hard work, the hard work of many other people, which exposed the government censorship portal, the backdoor portal into Twitter and all the social media companies, as we've been talking about over and over again for over 2 years. We were the ones who led this entire expose of this. None of the grifters, Tucker Carlson, didn't want to touch it. And we have to talk about why they didn't want to touch it. And that why they didn't want to touch it leads to this question of why lazy people want false gods, why lazy people want lies, and why lazy people like half truths. But this portal is what we discovered, the entire government censorship portal 2 years ago, as many of you know. Do you remember that, John? You were right here with me.
Yeah, of course I remember it.
Maybe you just want to tell people, John. Yeah.
When we were doing that lawsuit and you were digging all this stuff up, it was like impossible to get a hold of you. You would just shut yourself in as you were writing these briefs. Basically, the rest of your operations were all running on autopilot. We were just, like nobody could get a hold of you because you were just so busy writing these briefs and digging in all to this stuff.
Yeah, and when we dug in, and by the way, we didn't have lawyers helping us. What we discovered was that the government actually has an entire infrastructure into back doors. And the reason we discovered this was because I was a victim of this. So this wasn't me, just a grifter writing this stuff. I ran for U.S. Senate, which all of you know. We exposed the government. We said stuff they didn't like, and so this is very different than what Elon Musk has been, all this theatrics he's been doing, and we'll talk about this, but it was my exposing the government, my getting shut down that led me to find out how they did that. And when I exposed how they did that, I was then deplatformed by Twitter. And it is today, what's the date today, John? On December 16th, 2022, after what? Over 2 years now. It was deplatformed February 1st, right? That nearly 3 years, I'm put back on Twitter after I exposed the fact that Elon Musk still hasn't dismantled this. And not only I, but all of our tens of thousands of volunteers all over the world started exposing Elon Musk. And he thinks that just because he puts me back on Twitter that I'm going to shut up and not talk about the fact that he still has this portal going on. Okay? So I can't be bought out, unfortunately, for them, right? Which, John, I think if you remember, this is what the judge tried to do, right?
Oh yeah, they basically wanted you to just let them put you back on Twitter, but drop your other claims. Don't go after the actual people that were involved in the censorship.
So maybe the judge called up Elon Musk and said, "Hey, look, put him on Twitter. He'll go away. He'll be so happy." But you got to understand that in our lawsuit, we were unwilling to drop all the claims against the government, and the judge was going to come after me for criminal prosecution for exposing all this, and he just thought I'd just go back on Twitter, but I refused to do that. And Elon Musk thinks just because he puts me back on Twitter, we're going to forget it. Now, you have to understand why Elon Musk is doing this and why they concealed our lawsuit and didn't want to talk about all these grifters for one reason. That's what we're going to talk about. because they don't want an independent movement, okay? Neither Elon Musk or the establishment is so afraid of an independent movement growing and actually living on its own 2 feet that it doesn't need them, okay? So in the interest of talking about this entire thing, I'm going to literally, because this is hot off the press, what I just wrote, I'm going to walk through with this in a very pedantic way what I just put together. So let's go through this article. And John, you posted the article, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the article title I just put up, as everyone can see here. Can everyone see it, John? Yeah. It's called Elon Musk Equals Censorship and Surveillance, a false god for free speech leading you to slavery in an ever-expanding censorship and surveillance state across land, sea, air, and space, in which Elon Musk is fully entrenched in an economically dependent on force, power, profit, control. Now, why did I say that? If you really look at the fact, Elon Musk, the end of the day, if you're in a Tesla or you're on Twitter or you're on your boat or your plane and you're using SpaceX satellites, you are literally in the world of Elon Musk and the government, global censorship surveillance state. They're tied into like that. Where government begins and where Elon Musk ends, nobody knows. So what the government has done, particularly because we started exposing this 2 years ago, the entire censorship infrastructure, in response to that, they went and got Elon Musk, who is their central point of control across all these medium space, in your Tesla, on Twitter, and they want him to be the front-facing god, right? The brand ambassador to pacify particularly freedom-loving Americans, the conservatives. All the liberals are all for, supporting the censorship state. However, the freedom-loving Americans, many of them, quote-unquote conservatives, are against that. So they needed a front face called Elon Musk to sucker them in to think he was going to fight for them. It's absolutely nonsense, okay? And this is what I wanted to expose in this paper I just wrote, which I did for all of you. I want all of you, please take time to read this. This is really a very nice piece, okay? So it starts off with the censorship architecture. If you remember, we found out that the government here had written all these playbooks, and here's a back-end portal into Twitter. And the government here used this portal to deplatform me. Now, the point is, Elon Musk has still not dismantled the government censorship infrastructure, which we first discovered. And we're going to keep saying that, right, John? Who discovered it, John? Who discovered it? We did. And the reason credit matters is because it was an independent movement which did it without hundreds of millions of dollars like Trump had and lawyers. It was done by us. We exposed it, but not only that, John, you may want to move over just a little bit because you're off center a little bit there. It was our movement that discovered it, but it was also our movement that shared it. A lot of you here with 200 million people worldwide, right, John? We didn't wait for them. In fact, they wanted to conceal it.
No, we've been our own media from the very beginning. We've always relied on our own people to get stuff out there.
Right. So it was 2 big victories today, okay? Even before today, we're the ones who discovered this. We're the ones who got it out, the movement for truth, freedom, and health, independent of them. And this is very scary to those in power on the left or the right, because we don't need them. We don't need Elon Musk. We don't need AOC. We don't need Bernie Sanders. We don't need Donald Trump. We built our movement on our own, okay? Bottoms up. So the bottom line is, so we discovered this, okay? And we're the ones who discovered the Twitter partner support portal. And shame on this fool, Stephen Miller, the idiot who was Trump's secretary, saying he just put out a release and all these people on Twitter started retweeting him, okay? Even Tim Pool, another big grifter. They knew about our lawsuit. They did nothing. But in fact, this guy, Stephen Miller of AFL, America First Legal, bunch of lawyers know our lawsuit exists. Yesterday, they're saying, oh my God, we found the portal. Bullshit. We did it. We're not going to let people steal our credit anymore. No way. Okay. So as it says, we discovered the portal. We discovered all these playbooks, which are the step-by-step process. It's a how-to manual. It's a recipe of how government will censor speech. And we also put together this incredible diagram, which details all the people and all the relationships involved in this. Now, one of the things you'll see is It's CISA right here is the one that created this whole network infrastructure. And it's important to remember who created.
Whoops. Looks like we've just lost Dr. Shiva. Give us a second. We'll have him back in just a bit. All right, there he is.
Okay.
Welcome back, Dr. Shiva.
So what I was saying was we need to understand who actually created CISA, okay? Who created CISA, John? Who signed it into law?
Donald J. Trump, unfortunately.
Donald J. Trump in 2018 established the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, which is the one which created that entire infrastructure that you're seeing here, which created the backroom portal. So one of the false gods, which we had to do the dirty work in exposing. By the way, Trump's a nice guy. You know, I have a bunch of hats he gave me here. He gave me a nice gift, you know, but that has nothing to do with it.
But we can't be bought off with gifts or with pleasantries. We have to stand on principle.
Right. So it was our movement which had to expose Trump. But you got to understand, Trump, all these Republican grifters running out there. Oh my God, Trump, the Republicans, Biden. And we're going to get into this, okay? It is exactly, as Charlie K say here is, maybe John, you can put up some nice things if you're watching there. It is frankly disturbing. People are acting like this is information you expose is new when it comes out 2 years ago. Yeah, so we're going to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen, why is it they concealed our stuff?
Yeah, Trump knew about this 2 years ago. You told him personally.
Yeah, I gave him the censorship diagram. No, it was in November, okay? Right, I told him this. Everyone knew about this. But you got to understand why they are concealing this, okay? And I want everyone to listen. When you get understanding why they concealed it, it'll make you realize why the path to actually our future, okay? And why lazy people, let's talk, why they actually like these false gods, okay? So we expose all of this, okay? We expose all the playbooks and the network architecture. Oops. John?
Yes.
Okay. We expose all of that nearly 2 years ago, okay? That's an important point to understand. We didn't wait. We exposed all of this 2 years ago. And so the real analysis here is, why was our stuff suppressed? Right, John?
Yep.
That's what we want people to understand. Why was our lawsuit concealed? Why did they then share pieces of it, but not the whole? And then why do they now try to take credit for the whole thing? Okay, let me repeat that again. Why is it 2 years ago they concealed it? Tucker Carlson, Glenn Greenwald, the ACLU. Then about a month ago, The Intercept takes a little piece of it. And then why is it now they're trying to say they discovered it? Okay. Why do they do that? Okay, so let's go. And in analyzing that, you're going to learn the real nature of how these scumbags work. Okay, so, or these false gods. So one of the things that you realize is Elon Musk, and this is what you realize, okay? Elon Musk and his media grifter sycophants are now committed to acting as though they had no idea, someone just said, of the historic 2020 federal lawsuit, Ayadure versus Twitter. Over 2 years ago, where I represented myself, we got many victories, and we were, again, the first to discover the partner support portal, the playbooks, the step-by-step manuals for how government would censor Americans, and the network diagram, okay? We discovered all of this, and we put it all up on our website, okay? You can go to, winbackfreedom.com, and you'll find all of this there, okay? All right, everyone can find all of this right up there. Maybe I'll move it right here, okay? And you guys will see it there, okay? Can you see it there, John?
Yep, I can see it.
Okay, so the Win Back Freedoms. And if you find it, our entire lawsuit is here. This has been up here for 2 years, okay? 2 years. So no one should have any difficulty in understanding that this has been up there, all right? So that's what we did 2 years ago, okay? All right.
By the way, quick comment here. Fat Sammy is asking, did Dr. Shiva invent email? Yes, Fat Sammy, he literally wrote the code for the world's first email program. 1978, was it? Did I get that right?
Yeah. Yeah, and, you know, I've had a history. Unfortunately, when you're an innovator and you work on and you do stuff, my attorney was just saying, Shiva, we live in a world now that people just steal other people's stuff, okay? Yeah, so I wrote the first email system, did it, never really talked about it. And it's been a while, John, as you know, I've had to learn that it's not only important to get stuff out there, but you also have to get the credit for what you do at the right time, not for personal aggrandizement, but to really let people know where the source of that truth really comes from. Okay.
Yeah, because when the wrong people are able to steal credit, they will mislead people into thinking that thinking they're going to give more solutions when they're giving false solutions.
Right. Exactly. So when we go back to this article here, thanks, John, for that observation. So what we find is these grifters are now claiming. So all these guys who stole are now claiming to be against censorship, right? But they censored Dr. Shiva and me, right? They didn't want anyone else to know about our work. And they did this for over 2 years. But all of this stuff has been up on our site for 2 years, as I mentioned. Now, what's important to understand, these media grifters are actually allied, be it Dinesh D'Souza, be it, all of these guys, Dan Bongino, they all knew about our stuff, but they kept mum because they knew that we're not part of the left or the right, that if they gave us attention, that it would give our movement, which is independent, attention. That's why they didn't do it. So first they concealed it. Then more recently, they did this whole limited hangout. If you remember, The Intercept literally took all of our stuff, released a little piece of it, just saying it's called DHS leaks. That was a month ago. And then they thought we would go away, but we didn't. We didn't. In fact, what did we do, John? We got quite angry, right? Yeah. Our movement went back on the ground and in the air, and we exposed The Intercept. So think about this. They first tried to conceal our lawsuit, but we got it out to 200 million people. This is the power of an independent movement. Step one. Then the judge tried to conceal our lawsuit. He sealed it, okay? But we still got it out because he wanted to seal the lawsuit because, like Elon Musk, he just wanted to put me on Twitter, drop all the claims against the government. And he sealed our lawsuit. He ordered me to only file the lawsuit with the one claim to get him back on Twitter. I did that, and I walked away from my own lawsuit because I was principled. I didn't want to just go back on Twitter and know that the government officials were going to get away. And that's what Elon Musk thinks we're going to do, okay? Yep. But the important thing is that when you go back and you look at this, the next thing they try to do was they try to do a limited hangout. That was 2 months ago, to try to steal our credit and release a piece of it, okay? Now, but the reality is, if you read this point right here, why are they doing this? John, you want to read this out to people? Why are they doing this? Why did they conceal our lawsuit? Why did they try to take credit for it? You can read this out loud, John, to everyone.
All right. The source for this nefarious and unethical behavior is their absolute fear that an independent news outlet like Dr.SHIVA and, more importantly, an independent and explosively growing global movement, Truth, Freedom, and Health, that is beyond left and right, one which they cannot control or profit from, will lead to a real movement for real change independent of their theatrics and deception.
Right. I got to put it, will lead to, John, remind me, okay? Mm-hmm. So that's what they're afraid of. And that is a movement for truth, freedom, health, which all of you know about. And those of you don't know about it, go to Truth, Freedom, and Health. And you learn that we have put together a global community now. Everyone can see this, John? Yep. Of massive numbers of people. We keep winning. And we have an entire way to teach people. We have courses. We have knowledge. We have an entire framework for people to liberate themselves that's independent of left and right. This is what scares the shit out of them, okay? And so the movement for Truth, Freedom, and Health. Now, this gets to the topic of today. John, go back to the topic of today so people joining new. What is the topic of today?
The topic of today is why lazy people need false gods, lies, and half-truths.
Right. So why do they need that? So as I was writing this article, I was compelled to think about, wow, why is it we have some people who really want to know the truth, who want to understand what happened? They, when we were saying, hey, look, we're the ones who put it out there. Oh, you should just be happy, it's out there. Please get back, work with Elon. They want half-truths, right? He's a nice guy. But the reality is a reason that the people want to put out lies and half-truths and have false gods is because they actually want to take advantage of people who are lazy. And people who are lazy, it goes both ways. The people who are lazy and want to sit on their rumpus actually want to be entertained by the Alex Joneses, by the what is the name? Joe Rogan's, because they just want to be entertained with little pieces of the truth. So you watch Alex Jones, he'll entertain you, and you feel like the whole world's going to come to an end and you can't do anything and you're dead, right? You listen to Joe Rogan, Too Little Too Late, Joe Rogan, and you get a little piece of the truth. And people say, wow, Joe said this, Joe said that. So basically lazy people, and we know none of you are lazy, okay, want to be entertained by half-truths, false gods, and lies. And why is that? Well, that leads to a very, very interesting conclusion. And it's the aha I had this morning. And what it was is, look, it's the movement. We're a movement. We're a movement. We're a movement. We're a movement. What is a movement? Well, first of all, the movement for truth, freedom, health teaches the science of systems so you may uncover truth, not just a little piece of the truth, but the whole truth. But that's just one part of it. We want to couple the truth and encourage you to take action. So you educate your fellow human beings here now, neighbor to neighbor, to make change bottoms up so we can win back freedom. So those who seek real change, learn the power of coupling truth with action. So so if you're really a truth seeker, you're also a person of action. So truth and action go hand in hand. That's called a movement. But if you have truth over here and you don't have any action, right? Or you don't have any action at all, or you have action and you don't have truth, if it's decoupled, that's not a movement. So if you think about all these idiots, very esteemed professors, they'll write all the truth. Oh my God, this is how they screw you. And that's called an unlimited hangout, like this woman Whitney Webb does. She's part of the establishment. And when you just keep telling people the truth, well, this is what's happening to you, and Jeffrey Epstein did this, and blah, blah, blah did this. And when you confuse people, when you basically give all the truth, which is what's happening now, after we expose the portal, Stephen Miller, who was part of Trump, now they're saying, oh my God, this portal exists. Now they're telling the truth. But why are they telling you the truth? They want you to sit on your fat ass, if you have one, or if you don't, or your small ass, whatever you have. And they do not want you to take action. That's what they want you to do. They don't want you to take action, okay? Yeah, so Lex Friedman, another little scumbag, okay? Thank you. Charlie K says that. Another total scumbag, okay? Yeah, he's part of the Noam Chomsky cult. Look, I know Noam, he's a good guy, but Noam Chomsky built his entire career just telling the truth, but he kept getting promoted. But he never wanted people to take independent action. So that's what I want to bring out here. You see, truth has to be coupled with action. And that is what our movement does. A movement for truth, freedom, and health. If you go back here and we look at it, truth, freedom, and health is not just a bunch of intellectuals sitting mentally masturbating. We teach you what to do, and then we get people on the ground. You see, on the ground, we have a community. We're building a movement. This is fundamentally different. So a movement is truth coupled with action. Now, the forces of power, profit, and control, what they attempt to do here after they try to conceal our stuff, then they try to put out lies and half-truths. And what this means, the lies and half-truths, they use what we call limited hangouts. That's the CIA technique where you put out a little piece of the news, you let that hang out, a limited version of it, so everyone goes away. And that's aimed to lead you to inaction and to make you lazy, so you outsource your future to false gods from above, who are going to deliver you nothing but slavery. You see, the alternative is also true. Those who are lazy love being entertained by lies and half-truths, okay? So that's the real essence here. It's quite profound. What do you think, John?
I mean, you brought up Noam Chomsky earlier and how people would, he would tell people everything that's going on, but you'd end up demoralized by the end of it, and he wouldn't give any solutions. In fact, you would talk about how he straight up said, oh, we're at the cul-de-sac of humanity. We're all just going to destroy each other, and there's really nothing we can do. And you just leave his lectures depressed.
Yeah, exactly. And to Heather's point here, I was a student of Noam's and still keep in touch with Noam. But I've really figured him out. I mean, when I was 18 years old, I did a project with him, a research project with him. And I was 17, 18. And I said, Professor Chomsky, what's going to happen to the world? He goes, well, human beings are very bad. They have big brains. They're just going to kill themselves. Okay. So he told, I learned a lot of truth, but no action. Basically, sit on your rumpus. The world sucks. You can't do anything. Okay. It's going to blow up. And that's this learned helplessness. So it's really, really important to understand truth without action, again, truth and action have to be coupled. That's a movement. But if you just keep telling people the truth, so what the establishment does is they do two things. First, if they can't conceal the whole truth, if they can't conceal the truth like they try to do their lawsuit, then they went into the mode, if you remember, John, they went and shared the half-truth, right? And they said, oh, Shiva, oh, they've already covered it. The Intercept's covered it. Glenn Week, it's all done. Tucker Carlson. That's why lazy people like lies and half-truths. And the most deceptive thing is what you see happening right now with Stephen Miller and Trump. They're sharing the quote-unquote truth, but they don't want you to act. What they want you to do is they want you to wait for another false god. They're doing all these theatrics. In fact, Trump is saying, hey, wait. And by the way, he's selling his superhero $99 cards.
Yeah, apparently they all sold out already. He's just raking in more money.
Are you serious?
Yeah, apparently they all sold out.
A bunch of idiots here who want to wait for the false god Trump think he's going to come in 2024. Well, Trump is the one who created CISA in 2018. Trump is the one who knew about it, and he did nothing. So you see, they're telling the truth now, which is our lawsuit from 2020. And then they're coupling with, don't worry, we're going to take care of it. Come to me. I got you covered, John, right? We're going to take care of it.
It's trust the plan all over again.
Trust the freaking plan. And that is why they hid. Now, I hope everyone's getting clear. This is why they concealed our lawsuit, our findings. This is why they did the limited hangout. And this is why Stephen Miller now is coming out and saying, oh my God, we discovered it. Okay? Because they want to take control even of the truth. So first they try to conceal the truth. Then they try to give you a half truth. Then they try to own the truth. Then they try to wait for you, tell you, oh, we're the gods. We're going to solve it. But they're the false gods. It's very, very fascinating, John, isn't it? It's like an analysis, what we're giving you. It's just I would say this is probably the most important talk that I've done ever.
Yeah.
Because this talk is really giving you the dynamics of suppression and oppression. So here's the bare truth, right? So what I said is this kind of theatrics that everyone needs to wake up to from, so we win freedom on our timelines, not waiting for another false god to come up from above and help us, be it Trump or Musk. And here's the bare truth now. Musk, like Trump, is a false god created by the government for the government, not by the people for the people, created by the government for the government to mislead freedom. John, just put that note in there too there, okay? To mislead, if you can write that down. To mislead freedom-loving Americans. So whether you are in your Tesla right now or on Twitter or in your boat or plane connecting to SpaceLink Starlink satellites or chipped in your brain connected to Neuralink, you are in Elon Musk's world that is wholly allied with and economically dependent on the government's ever-expanding digital surveillance state and censorship system across land, sea, and air. And as we discuss in this article, and I want you to go through this, what you will find is that, first of all, we put together the entire lawsuit it's all there. It's also on Win Back Freedom, but we summarize it here. We have the playbooks we discovered. We talk about what the judge wanted me to do. He wanted me to walk away. And then we talk about what the Intercept did with the limited hangout, right? They just put a little piece of the story. And you also remember that on December 3rd, Musk was directly asked by Clayton Morris of Redacted, hey, Dr.SHIVA was deplatformed by this lawsuit when he was a Senate. Is it still active? Is this in alignment with your commitment to free speech? And what did Elon Musk say? He goes, ooh, that sounds like Big Brother. Let me dig into it. I'll get back to you. He never has gotten back, okay? And then they waited a few weeks. They had this clown, Stephen Miller, who's a doofus. Oh, we found the portal. And then they're both tweeting each other back. It's all one big clusterfuck of a bunch of guys who want to take ownership of what we discovered. Okay, it's all a joke. Okay, but when you really unravel this, what do you discover? What you will discover is that the bottom line is that when you really look at, and by the way, what did we do? Remember, John, we gave Musk a deadline.
Yep.
We said,
people were saying, oh, just give him time. Just give him time. Okay, he already had like 6 months.
And we had everyone go online. Tens of thousands of people tweeted at him. And he thinks he's going to bribe me by putting me back on. I'm going to be bribed. But he has not dismantled the partner support portal. Okay. He claims he's a free speech absolutist. Well, the partner support portal's up. the government big tech censorship infrastructure is still up. And, he just put me back on. So he just put me back on, okay, which was beyond the law. And none of those people have been filed any indictments against. And we have these 2 videos you can go see. So the reason Elon Musk is a false god, number one, think about it, SpaceX. SpaceX is wholly dependent on the government, okay, as we put forward here. SpaceX has multiple times gone out of business, multiple times they weren't doing well, right? And SpaceX received $5.4 billion from the government. Write that down. So where government ends and where Elon Musk begins, no one even knows. $5.4 billion, come on. Is Musk SpaceX or SpaceX the government? Okay? So that was from government subsidies. And now SpaceX is worth about $50 to $80 billion. The second thing, John, if you need to get going, you can, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Thanks, John. Thank you very much, okay? It's good to have you. So the next thing we need to understand is that it's very important to understand that it was Tesla which became profitable as you go through this article. Again, I recommend everyone go through this article. It's something you can really share with other people. Tesla got $2.5 billion through over 110 subsidies from the government for carbon credits. Okay. Now, I'm sorry, that was subsidies. $1.5 billion were carbon credits. And that's what made Tesla worth $800 billion. Trump, Musk, same thing. So Musk is now using, okay. Someone said, Laura says, Dr. Shiva is encouraged to create a comprehensive diagram timeline about his work. We are experiencing a war on narcissism. I've seen how information delayed. If Dr. Shiva would like to know why he has not been elevated and proper credit for it, I can lay out a diagram for him. Yeah, so Laura, I encourage you to do that, but you can send it to me. But the bottom line, don't miss the point here. The reason they didn't promote our work and the reason they concealed it, because we are an independent movement. Laura, do you get that? I just want to make sure everyone understands that. They don't want to promote. They'll promote a Dinesh D'Souza. They'll even promote an AOC. They'll promote a Bernie Sanders. They'll promote an Elon Musk because they're all part of one wing. But please understand, I want to make sure everyone gets this. We're not in one of their clubs. We're not in the Democrats. We're not Republicans. We're not left. We're not in one of these parties. We're an independent movement. And they do not want people to realize and have a strong back and build their own self-confidence that we, the people, can really have an independent movement. That's what Truth, Freedom, Health is. It's the only movement on the planet which is a truly independent movement. So, but Musk is he's a slave to the government with SpaceX. All of his billions, which he's now dumping his stock, came from carbon credits by telling people that the world is going to end with climate change, okay? So he's totally dependent on carbon credits. And then Twitter is completely dependent on the government because of Section 230 immunity. And again, if you go through this article, I explain that because I want everyone to learn. I'm a very committed educator. When you go through this, you'll find out that Twitter is fundamentally an organization that is known as a platform. New York Times is a publisher. Now, someone decided Twitter gets platform status, New York Times gets publisher status. Why is this important? Why is this distinction important? Well, it's important in 2 ways. First of all, Twitter gets, by the way, before I go, I want to discuss this. I want to take a quick break, get some water. I want all of you, first of all, to remember we have a big event tomorrow. Go buy tickets, support our movement, the government big tech censorship event. That's tomorrow. But also, we are the movement for truth, freedom, and health. And I'm going to play a video. And after that, those of you who are new, go support our movement. Become a truth, freedom, and health warrior. You have no excuse not to. And I'm going to play you our video, and I'll be right back. We still have about 20 minutes left, but I want to go through so you really understand that Elon Musk is by the government, for the government. He's a false god. His entire billions is based on the government. So let's watch this video and be right back. We have allowed our country to be taken over from within, and the end goal is you will have a homogenized world where we will become slaves, because there is a condition among the elites that really thinks they're better than you, deep down inside them.
that you don't deserve the freedoms you have. They don't. This reality is what people need to wake up to. And we need to all unite working people. There's only one movement that can do that. And that is the movement that we started creating here in Massachusetts, the movement for truth, freedom, and health. Look, I've been a student of politics since I was a 4-year-old kid, studying revolutionary movements, left wing, right wing. There's a physics, there's a nuclear science to destroying the establishment. To build a bridge, you need to understand Newton's equation. You need to understand the laws of gravity. You need to understand Poisson's ratio. There is a way to build a revolution. And that's why I put this together. My goal is to train an army of truth, freedom, and health leaders. We don't need followers like social media. We need leaders, but they need training because the educational system does not teach them history, nothing. So in 3 hours, that's what I've started doing. That's the solution. We got to train people. First, with understanding what a system is. The second is understanding the interconnection between truth, freedom, and health. Freedom is the ability to move freely, communicate freely, right? Talk freely. Without freedom, you cannot convert ideas, hypothesis into truth, which is science. And without freedom, you can't really get to truth. And without truth, you make up fake problems and fake solutions, which means you destroy our health. And without health, which is the infrastructure of us and our body, you can't fight for freedom. Third concept is it has to be bottoms up, working people, people who work uniting. And what the right wing has done is whenever you say working people unite, that must be communist. Meanwhile, they've let the Democrats run unions, which suppress workers, completely corrupt. But when you look at the arc of American history, it's been when working people came up. We need to go local. Every solution I'm coming up with as a part of this movement, we're giving the science, which is the truth, and then we tell people what they can do on the ground. Like with election fraud, you don't need to wait for some lawyer. Our goal is to train people, Dave, to go local, to go local, to go local, fight locally. Forget lawyers, forget politicians, forget celebrities. You got to learn politics, and there is a science to it. They lock us down, we should be ready to shut them down. And the fourth part of this principle is a not so obvious establishment. So when you look at a system, there's always something that disturbs you from getting to your goal. Well, the biggest disturbance is a not so obvious establishment, which are those people who claim they're for you, on the left and the right. The Al Sharptons who tell black people I'm for you. The Tucker Carlsons. Do you think any true anti-establishment person will ever be on Fox or CNN? I don't think so. They both mislead working people back into the establishment. Without this solid understanding of political physics and theory, you're screwed. You're going to follow on the left wing, Bernie Sanders. Oh, he said something. Or Robert Kennedy. Scumbags. Or you're going to follow, some right-wing talk show host. They're not going to lead us to liberation. It's us. And that political physics, it's a nuclear science of change. Bottoms up. We have to organize to understand that there is people who talk a good game and then look at what they actually do, left and right. I'm sorry, Sean Hannity may say some good things, but I don't see the urgency in his voice to get something done. And it can only come when you weaponize yourself with the right knowledge. You need to be able to identify a rat. Christ didn't go after the Romans, right? It was the Pharisees and the Sadducees who screwed him up. His own quote unquote people. And that's where we're at. So these four concepts I've built into a curriculum. People can go to vashiva.com, and it's an educational program. We need to train people in political theory. You need to have physics, and I've created that curriculum. People need to get educated. We need to get educated fast. And within a half an hour, I can teach people. 2 years of MIT control systems, I teach people those concepts. Then I apply it, anyone can understand it. And then you say, oh, I got to build a bottoms-up movement. They have to get politically astute, and then they have to go locally and act, not sit there on social media. They have to act locally, defy locally, do civil obedience locally, but with knowledge on how to build a movement. The Senate campaign's expanded to the Movement for Truth, Freedom, and Health, and they can find it on V as in Victor, A, Shiva, vashiva.com, so people can sign in. They can get access to a bunch of videos. If they want to take a course and become a Truth, Freedom, and Health leader, I offer a full scholarship there. But we want people to make a commitment that they'll study, that they'll get certified, that they'll go do activities on the ground. So go to VA Shiva, Victory America Shiva, vashiva.com.
So anyway, the way you guys can support our powerful growing movement, which is truly made up of all of us, is go to truthfreedomhealth.com. You can contribute, or you can sign up and, you contribute and you can actually become part of the movement. We have an entire course program, but please do that. What I just told everyone of you to do is tweet this at Elon Musk. You are a false god. I don't know if that's his right thing. It may be Elon Musk. You're a false god and need to step out of the way of the movement for truth, freedom, and health. And you can click this article that I just put out there. That's one thing I'd like you guys to do. The other thing I want all of you to do is to remember, once again, as John shared earlier, let me go to this. You are all highly encouraged to go to come to the tomorrow. I'll be up early to get ready for the Truth Freedom. So if you go to the vashiva.com, vashiva.com, and you click on the events right here, you'll see that we have the first international conference in government and big tech censorship system. I'll have a lot more time to go into this, and you can just buy a ticket there. So please go do that. It's another way that you can support all the work we do. Anyway, so when you really getting back to what I was sharing here, when you get back and go through that article, what you'll find out fundamentally is that Elon Musk is one with the government. And particularly, he's one with the government, censorship, and surveillance state. If you really look at what a Tesla is, it's a walking, you're literally in an LCD screen. And it's fundamentally a vehicle that is a censorship device. It's constantly communicating with all sorts of external infrastructure, and it's a surveillance device. Twitter is a surveillance instrument, and so is SpaceX out there. Now, just think about it. A friend of mine is a contractor, okay? He wanted to get a building built, and the government wasn't building the building, okay? He had to do all sorts of stuff to get the base, and the government wasn't getting him his permit, to be specific. So he told me, I just need to get a building permit, and I have to do all this garbage with the government just to get anything done. That's just a small contractor who's just trying to build a little building. Now think about Elon Musk, who has put up nearly 3,000 Starlink satellites. There's no way he can put those up there without being like this with government. And why do I say that? Same thing with Tesla. He needed to have all those government credits in order to make Tesla profitable. In 2020 and 2021, he sold $1.5 billion worth of carbon credits, and that's how he achieved profitability. And because he achieved 600 or 700 million profitability, then it was valued at 800 billion, totally from the government. So if you look at Twitter, what I was saying before the break was this. Twitter is deemed a platform. The New York Times is deemed a publisher. What does this mean economically? Well, if the New York Times did 5 billion in revenue, they only get a 2 times multiple. It's called a valuation multiple on revenue. They're only worth 10 billion, which is still a lot, right? But because they're a publisher and they can be sued if one of their writers posts a defamatory article, higher liability, they only get a $10 billion valuation, 2 times a $5 billion revenue. Twitter did 5 billion in revenue. By the way, they make their revenue by selling our data to governments of other countries, governments of the US, and advertisers. And based on that $5 billion, they get a 10x multiple, which means they're worth $50 billion in revenue. So Twitter's worth 50 billion. The New York Times is worth 10 billion, $40 billion difference, because Twitter is deemed a platform and gets Section 230 immunity, which means that if you or I post something on Twitter that's defamatory, they can come after us, but they can't go after Twitter. Okay? Section 230 immunity. Got it? Okay. Musk cannot afford, or Silicon Valley investors cannot afford to lose Section 230 immunity. So because they can't afford to lose that, they went and basically said, okay, government, you can put that portal back in, and we will do the dirty work for you, which means when you tell us to bump off Dr. Shiva, we'll take him out on your behest. That's why Elon Musk has evaded talking about this portal. And right now, Elon Musk is waiting for Elizabeth Warren and Lindsey Graham to put a bill together that will likely retroactively protect that illegal backroom portal. And the same thing, mind you, occurred nearly 10 years ago when George W. Bush and the government was telling the telecommunications companies to wiretap on US citizens. Completely illegal. When they got sued, what did they do? They put a bill in Congress to retroactively give amnesty to those companies. So this has been done before. So the bottom line is Musk is a government man. Repeat after me. Musk is a government man. Musk is by the government for the government. Okay? So he has been chosen by the elites, Silicon Valley, the government, the deep state, whatever you want to call them, to be their ambassador. And his whole goal is to take these freedom-loving patriots, good Americans, and convince them that he's fighting for them. So all this circus shit you're seeing out there is a conflation. What is it a conflation of? Let me explain that as I share in this article. What I share in this article is this article, what he's doing is he's actually conflating two things very, very cleverly, okay? What does conflation mean? Conflation is a word that means you're equating two things that should not be equated, okay? So what is he equating? Okay, what he's particularly equating is he is saying, and I'll describe it here, but you can go to the site. So Twitter is a private company, has First Amendment rights. No different than if you started your own publishing company, you have First Amendment rights, whose articles you're going to accept and who you're not, okay? Twitter has their First Amendment rights, even to talk to the government, okay? Or talk to anyone and say, oh, we're going to not put that post up or not, okay? It's called content moderation. So all the crap that all these people have been dropping are basically, okay, Twitter, which is a quote unquote, if they were a lefty company, they didn't like righties. No different. Fox News doesn't put on left-wing people, okay? They have their First Amendment rights. So please get this clear. Tucker Carlson can do content moderation, okay? He has a right to decide who to put on his show and who not to, okay? He has every right. He has every right to do that. Twitter has every right. So a lot of these Twitter file drops are conflating Twitter's content moderation completely different with what was done to us, where we critique the government and then the government told Twitter what to do. That's completely different. That's the use of the backroom portal, completely done secretly. I hope everyone understands that. Here's government telling Twitter what to do, to take off a U.S. Senate candidate who's criticizing them. I critique them. They use a portal. Over here, Twitter is deciding, oh, we don't like Justin. We don't like Heather. We don't like Nick. Whatever they want to do. Okay? So that is completely two different events. So Musk is talking about this in one hand. He's doing a sleight of hand. And over here, he's not talking about what occurred with our lawsuit because it reveals that there's a backroom portal. I hope everyone's getting this. So that is what the duplicity of Musk is. And he's doing that to rile all the Republicans, conservatives, as though he's their savior, when, by the way, he voted for Obama twice. In fact, he voted for Biden recently. And he told people to vote for Republicans, but he didn't even bother voting for any Republican. It was revealed. So this guy's a complete bullshitter. But more importantly, he is one with the government. His money comes from them and he needs them. So in closing, what I want everyone to leave away with is they concealed our lawsuit, all these grifters, all of these grifters, Dan Bongino, everyone. So don't give them anything. Then they did the limited hangout, put a little piece of it thinking, we would go away. We didn't. Then what they did was now they're telling the portal exists, but Trump is saying, I'll vote for me and I'll handle it. Bullshit. And right when I put out this article 12 hours ago, suddenly I'm put back on Twitter. Because they think by putting me back on Twitter, they'll buy me off and they'll silence me and our movement. No way. Our movement's going to escalate our education of people. Okay. Someone's saying you have a large amount of trolls today. Yeah. So let's look at who the trolls are. Give me their trolls' names and let's see who these idiots are, because a lot of the trolls here are probably are the lazy guys who think Musk is going to save them. Okay. So if you just give me the names of the trolls, I'll bring them out here and we can see what they're about. Okay. So that's what we want to talk about, okay? But someone said, I didn't get your message, but you can join us at the next open house. Okay, great. So the bottom line is this. It is the movement for truth, freedom, and health that is the force on this planet that got out our story in spite of them to 200 million people. Let me repeat that. Even though they try to conceal our lawsuit, we still got it out to 200 million people because of the force of our movement. And then it was because of the force of the movement, they don't want to give us any visibility because they're afraid more people will join our movement and break away from the left and the right. That's how simple it is, ladies and gentlemen. So we're seeing here right now is that someone said, I volunteered to leave Twitter when Elon came on the scene. Okay. Heather says, Janet Marcello, Dr. Shiva exposed this 2 years ago and was shared with Tucker, and Elon knows about it, the 2021 lawsuit. Yeah, so anyone who's new to this, you got to get your head out of your ass if you're still sucking up to Elon. And if you think these people did anything, it was our movement that did this. And hundreds and hundreds of million people know this. That's why we checkmated them. And so that is the power of the movement for truth, freedom, and health, because we are building it independently. We are giving people self-confidence on how you grow a movement independent of the establishment. So all of you, your homework assignment is to join the movement for truth, freedom, and health. And as I leave in closing, I want to let you know all the powerful tools that we have built, as a part of the movement for truth, freedom, and health. And I'll end with that. But no one here has any excuse after everything I've shared with you to recognize if you want to be lazy, which potentially some people are, if you want to follow false gods, if you want to not take any action, then go that route, which is basically going to lead you to hell and slavery. If you want to be a confident human being, if you want to be, in camaraderie with your other fellow humans and build a bottoms-up movement, join Truth, Freedom, Health. But when you join us, you have to study, you have to be part of a community, and we're going to compel you into action. This path, wait for Trump, wait for Trump, wait for Trump, buy his magical greeting cards, NFTs, okay? Or wait for AOC, wait for Bernie if you're on the left. By the way, we critique the left and the right. AOC, Bernie, same problems. The left followed those people. Someone said, misled followers of the godless claim oppression to validate their appropriation of the commodities by the workers they subjugate. Exactly, okay? So 2 action steps. Go become a truth, freedom, and health warrior, because we're going to compel you to action. We combine truth with action. Truth with action. Boom. That's the powerful combination, and independent of left and right. If you want to be lazy, if you want to sit on your ass all day, if you want to wait for Trump, if you want to buy his cards, if you want to believe Elon Musk, as he's subjugating you, as he's screwing you, then go over here. And that's your choice. But now at least you have a real choice, okay? That is the opportunity for you. You have a real choice to change the world. You have a real choice to make a difference, okay? And by the way, to all of you who may not know me, I've been doing this since I was a 17-year-old kid. I've been building bottoms-up movements. We have been committed to a systems approach. This is not something new. Unlike these other grifters who come and go, you can go look at the entire history of my life, everything we've done. It's been all about building a bottoms-up movement, okay? That's what we want people to do. We want people to build a bottoms-up movement where you become your own guru, okay? You're not looking to me. You're not looking to someone else. You become the source of liberation and the source of inspiration, all right? Anyway, everyone, I hope this was valuable. I'm going to end with a video that should inspire you to become a truth, freedom, and health warrior. Do it for yourself and do it for your own self-respect.
Hello, this is Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai. Welcome to VA Shiva, the platform of education, technology, and activism, so you may raise your consciousness to win the truth, freedom, and health you need to create the future you deserve. The VA Shiva platform provides its truth, freedom, health warrior scholars the following 3 capabilities. Number 1, an ultimate education that is based on the science of systems. Number 2, technologies to empower you to take charge of your health, as well as social media tools, independent of big tech, so you can connect with other incredible truth, freedom, health warrior scholars equally equally dedicated like you to winning truth, freedom, and health. 3, instruments for activism, so you become a beacon of light in your online and offline community to educate others, growth and advancement. VA-SHIVA provides you the foundations of the science of systems, the ultimate education. The science of systems provides you the missing fundamental scientific knowledge to understand every system in and around you. The science of systems will enable you to uncover the real problem and real solution in any situation and on any issue. Concerning the educational component, first you will receive direct access to me to learn the science of systems in my 3-hour live private online group class that I run every week. Second, you will have access to archived lectures so you can continue your education independent of me. Third, you can test your proficiency in learning the fundamental principles and get a formal certification for the foundations of systems. Independent of this classroom education, you will receive also 4 important books. The first book is the best-selling classic Systems and Revolution, from which you can learn all of these concepts and more. The second book is The Science of Everything, that will educate you on how the science of systems is the foundational knowledge of every system in the universe. The third book, Your Body, Your System, focuses on how to understand the interplay of these systems within your own body. And then the fourth book, Your System, Your Life, will help you apply these principles to other aspects of your life, such as running a business, understanding relationships, and more. Beyond the curriculum and books, the second capability is the technologies that you will be afforded. One of them is a powerful Your Body, Your System software, which is an online laboratory where you can use your body as a system to further deepen your understanding of the science of systems. The tool allows you to understand what kind of system you are. Is your system on course or is it off course? And how the inputs of food, supplements, herbs, activities such as sleep, yoga, meditation, exercise can affect your body to bring it back on course. Finally, to support your education, I've also included a seminal scientific paper that I wrote, which will help you understand that the knowledge of systems, it does not only originate in the modern world starting in the 1920s and 30s, but it actually dates back 10 to 20,000 years and intersects directly with the foundations of Eastern systems of medicine. In addition to this, you will also get 2 scientific papers sharing how the science of systems can also be used to apply to understanding how food is medicine. One paper exposes turmeric from the molecular systems level and how it affects your body. The other paper explores ginger and how that affects your body. That's just the educational piece. As you raise your consciousness through this education, you will likely want to connect with other truth, freedom, health warrior scholars in an environment where you can connect and build community. To support that, I've also created 2 powerful social media tools. One of them is a VA-SHIVA forum. Here you can start discussions, you can pose questions and meet others and have healthy debates. The other is VA-SHIVA Social, where you can create your own profile, your own presence, like other major social media tools. However, it is independent of big tech. You can use VA-SHIVA Social to interconnect with your fellow truth, freedom, health warrior scholars and build community. Beyond the education capability and the social media capability, the platform also enables you to take action by disseminating your knowledge on the ground and into your local online and offline communities. Powerful educational cards and research are included so you can pass these cards to your friends and neighbors that provide them summarized content, which further directs them to online research and education. In addition to this, the activism component also provides you many short 1-minute educational video content, memes, and text, allowing you to quickly craft messages for your Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and other pages so you can deliver content to educate others and drive them to longer educational posts on VA-SHIVA. VA-SHIVA is fundamentally an enabling platform for you to get the truth, freedom, and health you deserve through education, technology, and activism. I hope you become a truth, freedom, and health warrior scholar today. Thank you.
All right, everyone, I hope that was valuable. So you got a couple of homework assignments. Go read the article that I just put up. And to let everyone know, it was this article that I put up about 12 hours ago. And within hours of putting that article up, or yesterday, 12 hours of putting that article up, suddenly I'm put back on Twitter. And understand the principle here that even during our lawsuit, the judge tried to bribe me to tell me to get back on Twitter and let all the other claims go. And we didn't, homie didn't play that game, okay? So Musk needs to understand that I'm going to keep hammering him on the fact that this government censorship portal needs to come down in that infrastructure. But I want to just say that everyone in our movement for Truth, Freedom, Health should find this as a major victory, meaning that our movement persisted, we didn't let go, and we continue to do this. And because of the nature of us being an independent movement, they try to conceal us. Then they try to do a limited hangout, put pieces of it. then they think they're going to co-opt us, but putting us back on Twitter. No freaking way. All right. So we grow our movement, truthfreedomhealth.com, and be the light. And everyone, come tomorrow. Again, go to the site online, and you can get tickets at vashiva.com. Thank you, everyone. Be well, be the light, and have a very, very good night.